Hello and very good morning, everyone. I'm Mayank Rao,
And I, Kanika Gupta.
and we shall be the host for this session. On behalf of the Student Alumni Relations Cell, we warmly welcome you all to this very first session of Ask the Alum. We feel extremely honored to have with us our own alums, Mr. Praveen Paneri, a 2008 year dual degree graduate from the Department of Electrical Engineering, who is now a full-time software engineer at Google.
And another alumni speaker, Mr. Angansen Gupta. He had received PhD from Department of Chemical Engineering in year 2016, who is now assistant professor at IIT Jodhpur. First, I would request Angansen sir to give a brief insight about his journey up till now.
Thank you, hosts, Mr. Mayank, Ms. Kanika, and my colleague, Mr. Praveen. Good morning to all the participants, students, and my dear friends. So, as I am told to give a brief introduction of my journey, so I did my BTech in around 2008 and from West Bengal University of Technology, and from where I have done my chemical engineering BTech. And during that, I had done few internships in various process industries, not very much related to IT sectors, but yes, that gives the core engineering a flavor of what they read in textbooks. So you can actually map those. Following that, did my master's from IIT Roorkee and finally from IIT Bombay, graduated as a PhD candidate. And after that, to be very frank with you people, now these people are doing the host from SARC, where you people actually join for your internships and talk with alumnus. I personally never filled any resume to the SRC to join any companies or as such, because I had some other plans. I always wanted to be in academics, do research and all those. So after my PhD, I worked in few places in 5 NITs, NIT Bhopal, NIT Jalandhar, NIT Jaipur. After that, worked a little bit in BITS Pilani in Hyderabad, and grown my research area in the area where I want to flourish myself in more on computational domain. So as you know, you people, that nowadays only computer science or only chemical engineering doesn't suffice in the market, right? In the field, you have to work in the interface of various domains. So my area is more of using computation and stuffs to do to address few problems that chemical engineers do face in real lives, like developing materials, developing drugs, doing safety of industries, and all those building up digital twins. And finally joined here in IIT Jodhpur recently, past 2 years, which every one of us has suffered a lot for COVID, but good to see everyone online. It remembers me of my days in IIT Bombay. Walking through the lush green roads of IIT Bombay from H12 till chemical engineering department. It's fine enough, right? So yeah, so that is pretty much my journey, where I actually tried to be more into my academics and doing research and find out ways that can help industry in some certain ways, right? Yeah, so that's it from my side. If you have any question, you can please ask.
Thank you, sir. Your journey would be really helpful everyone present here.
Thank you.
Now I would like to ask Praveen sir to provide a quick overview of your journey to this point.
Thank you, Mayank, Kanika. Thank you, Angan sir. That was quite an exciting journey to hear about. So yeah, mine is pretty usual. I graduated in 2008 from dual degree. I did my dual degree in microelectronics from electrical department. As everyone else, I just landed a good job in Samsung. Even though there was not very close to the core job that a microelectronics MTech person would like, but I had always, my inclination was towards coding and software. from the beginning. I was very keen on writing, software. So I got what I wanted. I worked in Samsung for 6 years. In Samsung, I was working on their system on chip, which was going into their flagship models like Galaxy S and further series. I saw the downfall of Symbian OS. You must have seen Nokia phones that were coming in 2008 to 10, 11 time frame, those brick phones which you could break your head or something. And then the industry transitioned from those kind of phones to sleek, good looking Android phones. And I was glad enough that I was part of that transition. I worked for a Symbian team that got dissolved and became Android team eventually. And I also got an opportunity to work for the Microsoft Windows Phone OS for a brief time. And after completing these, during these 6 years, I worked on different projects within the Samsung and contributed to their, SoC business, which was actually going into multiple products. They were building navigation devices out of their SoCs. They were building phones. They were building some IoT devices. And in 2014, I made a switch to Intel. Intel, as you know, is the pioneer of processors and memory to some certain extent. I got an opportunity to work on graphics subsystems in Intel. Intel GPU is not the best, of course. NVIDIA and AMD are ahead of us, but I got a lot of exposure about GPUs when I was working in Intel, and I was astonished by the fact that the single line of code that we were writing for Intel GPUs, the amount of devices that it was running, millions and billions of devices, how many people were using those products in the world. In a way, it was astonishing to feel that how many lives we were touching. Every computer that was getting used in the world somewhere, which was using Intel graphics processor, I was like, there's some piece of code that I had written and was being exercised. So that was very good experience. And then recently, last year, I got an opportunity to be part of Google Silicon team. So Google Silicon team is setting up their organization here in India as well as in the US. Their primary motivation is to build their own SoCs for Pixel line of phones, and they have some hearables, the one that I'm using right now. So these kind of devices are on the roadmap for Google, and here at Google we are trying to contribute towards their roadmap for making the Pixel line of phones and these wearables a success. So that's a brief journey, and that's about it. If you have a question, I'm happy to answer.
Yes, sir. That was truly inspirational for all of us.
You're on mute.
Yes, sir. That was truly inspirational for all of us.
First, we will ask our alumni speaker some general questions which we have received from you all to kickstart the session, and then we will open the floor for the student to ask the questions. Without taking much of your time, let's start our general Q&A session. Mayank, you can go ahead.
Yes. So as the internship season is around the corner, can you please both elaborate on your internship and preparation you pursued for the same? Angansen, you can start first.
Thank you, Mayank. So for the internships, I did my internships in two places. One in Bamalori, that is located in West Bengal, which is more of a lubricant-based company. They make grease and other lubricants. And another, so that was in my second year, second sem. So and following that in third year, I did one of my internship in IOCL. So the Bamalori thing is not much I had prepared. It is more through the institute itself that where I was doing BTech. So they generally ask normal questions like what we have studied, how we implement that in a particular problem that they were facing and all those stuff. While in IOCL, it was a pretty much rigorous interview that we faced, starting from technical interviews to personal interviews, and then through HR rounds. And it was around 1.5 day long interview. So we were supposed to stay in one of the guest house of IOCL in Holdia, and there we had this interviews. And following that, we around so in West Bengal, you know, there were only at that time 4 institutes who used to give chemical engineering. So from all those institutes, we were around 50, 60 odd students who were there for the interview, and we around 20, 25 people got selected. I don't know what was their criteria, but at that time, but now I can imagine what they could have thought when I am sitting on the other side of the bench. So I'd like to share a little bit of that. So you should, so as a aspirant for any internship, you should be very thorough in your basics in the sense whichever discipline you are in. It may be computer science, it may be electronics, chemical, mechanical, whatever you are doing, do it with, you should be thorough in that because, okay, the 10-20% questions you might not know. That is okay. I mean, no one tells you that you should know everything, but overall you should be sound enough to answer, or basically you should think. You can they see if you can think through a question. May not be always a bookish type of question, a textbook kind of question, but you should think through it. And I think IIT Bombay infuses in you those credentials that you can think through. Okay, so you should think through any questions that comes to you. It's not that you just have to jump into it and straight away give an answer. Think through it, and then give answers. And in the HR round, it is more about how we should work in team, and then how, when a problem comes in, how to deal with the workers in the industry, in the process industries. It is always easy for you to connect and consult with your peers, right? I mean, a fellow engineer, your senior engineer, but it's very difficult, or it takes us some kind of a roundabout way to deal with workers working in a process industries. So those require certain skills, and we were trained in that. We are also trained on safety aspects that you should go through. And I think that also applies to any IT industries, because they work in semiconductors and some electronic gadgets, and where there can be fire, explosion, purity issues, how clean is the room. So all those safety aspects in a particular industry that you are aspiring to do your internship, you should be very thorough on those aspects. So yeah, so that's all from my side. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The emphasis on thorough understanding and the thinking aspect is will really help our students. Sir, Praveen sir, you can go now.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I guess the intent of the question is to give my experience about my internship. How did I land an internship? What did I do there? What did I learn? And what could you also expect from your internship? So first of all, internship. One thing that I want all of you to keep in mind: no matter what kind of internship, where, how you do, or whether you do it or not do, right? That is not a measure of your capabilities. That is what I was trying to say last night when I was talking to Mayank and Kanika. So that is not a measure of what are the capabilities that you as an individual have. Having said that, in 2006, I was in my third year. I was just finishing my third year, and the placement cell or a couple of class representatives were talking about going for an internship, talking to corporates, and see how things can win. So it was quite an informal process. Like unlike now, I think things are very, very formal, and the expectation of these corporate companies have also increased with time. That they expect a lot from the students, especially coming from IIT Bombay. So I landed an interview in LG. LG was another, the hardware manufacturer. You must have used some or other product from LG. So that was based out of Bangalore. We were four of us from electrical engineering who went to Bangalore and did an internship for 2.5 months in summer of 2006. So the interview process at that moment was mostly behavioral. They were trying to judge that what is our expectation out of that internship, and what do we want to achieve out of that internship. So in that aspect, you should be, when someone asks you what do you want out of this internship, so just give it a thought, and I can leave you with some of the thoughts process. That one thing could be that you want to earn some extra money. I mean, whatever compensation that is coming from an internship. That is one aspect. Another aspect is you want to get some exposure to the corporate world, how the corporate world functions, how team functions in that environment, how the work gets done, and all that. Understand the tools and the real the software environment, or whichever way, software, or whether it is an electrical engineering department or chemical engineering, mechanical internship, any kind of internship. So how things were taught to you in your class or in your lab in terms of the practical or theory, and how that differs in corporate world. That could be one motivation to go do an internship. And another thing is, like, I would suggest that you just go with an open mind. Whatever comes your way, you are there to learn and get some conclusion out of your internship, whatever it is, 1 month, 2 months, 2.5 months, 3 months, whatever that internship is for. So these are your expectations. And if you think about the expectation of the corporate, that will even help you prepare more. So what are these, why are these companies actually calling you for an internship? Why is it necessary for them? And how does it help them in terms of, that people come and do an intern there, and what are they actually getting out of it? So just if you tickle your mind around this and try and understand what is it, why are they actually calling us for an internship, you will understand the both side of stories. So I just want to emphasize a little bit on that also. They obviously want to get some work done by you in that period of time. While they want to get that work done, they want to prepare you for that work. Maybe for example, let's say you want to do some coding in C++, right? You would have done in some IDE, some environment in your classroom, but not same as them, right? And the kind of tools and source control softwares and other things, the way that their process flow works would be very different. So they want you to get used to it. After all of it, if they think that you have performed really well, it is a win-win situation for you and them. They can just hire you for a full-time job after that, and then they don't have to invest too much on training you in terms of and getting you absorb you into their environment, because you would have already done that during the course of your internship. So that is the motivation why those corporates are actually calling you for an internship. So that out of, like, let's say if a company is taking 10 interns, and even if they find that at least 5 and 6 interns were good enough and they can hire them, and it's a very smooth process, and this is a win-win situation for them. So keeping both the aspects, why do you want to do the internship and why that company is actually calling you for an internship, if you keep both of these things in mind and you prepare accordingly, the success is yours.
Thank you, sir. That was really insightful to know and think about why and how of internship.
Praveen sir, DSA is a very vast topic. Could you please specify some very important topics and how one should approach them?
Thank you for asking this question. So I'll tell you the very recent story of myself, right? So even if at an experience of 13 years, when I was approaching for a Google interview, I had to go back and read everything that I studied in my classroom in 2006 or 7, right? So which is pretty far away. And you can imagine that I would have forgotten most of the things by then. So the only way you could prepare and understand is by, okay, so there are two things here. One is maybe you guys are asking these questions given the time constraint that you have. You have very less time to prepare, but you feel that, if you look at the book CLR, that's this thick, and you can't really finish that CLR in a month or so. Of course, I'm not expecting that, right? So the key concepts of DSA, when we talk about data structures, like there are arrays, there are queues, linked lists. In terms of coding, we just talk about, right? This is very specific to IT now. So pardon me if you are not able to connect. So and hash maps and trees and binary search trees and whatnot. So these basic concepts, obviously you need to know the concept, but what I would suggest is that just don't rush behind completing the whole theory first and then I'll jump on to do some exercise. Just remember your JE days, right? How did you prepare for your, even though you might have taken a whole year or 2 years, I don't know how much did you take to prepare for every subject, but solving problems would have helped you. And all of you have gone through this process. More and more problems you solve, more and more confidence you get, and more you understand those small tricks behind solving those problems. So this is the key. And I suggested that there are so many tools available which were never available to us. You can go to Lead Code, you can go to HackerRank, you can go to Geeks for Geeks, but just take a reference of one or two such websites. It's not that you are all over the place. Like today you are doing Lead Code, tomorrow you are doing HackerRank, and day after tomorrow you are doing something else. So this is not how it works. Just take one and continue. Be very disciplined about solving those problems, solving those questions. And as and when you solve the questions, if you don't know the DSA behind that question, just go and read. Take that opportunity to read it right away, so that any similar questions that come tomorrow, you're able to solve it. So this is the approach I would take when I am in time crunch, rather than just spend 1 month in theory and then only start doing the problems. Just go for it, is what I will say.
Thank you, sir. Angas sir, would you like to add something on it?
Yeah, hello. Thanks, Kanika. So I agree on the point what Mr. Praveen said. It is not just one-day work. You have to gradually train yourself. But now, like now I am taking classes here in IIT Jodhpur. From that experience, I can share. So as far as internship is concerned, we never used to thought of using DSA because we are in some process industries and so. But since here in IIT Jodhpur, we train our students. So we can say like, I will say, as Mr. Praveen said, solve problems, and you should be more focused. See, DSA use of various other techniques to solve computation problems are well known now. There are very little things that need to be rectified, but what you should also focus is using these things to solve some applied problems. Right? You should not do very bookish problems to be solved, but try to apply those to some contexts. Like you can use data structure to a great extent for studying environment. Right, and that can be a plus point for your internships. Means companies may look for such kind of candidates who can apply data structure to solve problems in, say, environment, geomechanics, and all those stuffs. So only bookish knowledge, textbooks problems does not solve your problem. Have a bigger picture and try to address those. Okay, yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Angad sir. I just forgot to add one more thing. When you're solving problems, just try and search on Google about what are the kind of problems being asked in the interviews, especially for freshers, fresh graduates out of the college and internships. So you will certainly find. And another thing that I want to highlight is a teamwork is always better than doing things alone. Make a team of three, four, your friends, sit together and solve those problems. You will see that the results will be much better than you just banging your head with a book alone in your room or whatever, right? So just don't, if it works for you, I mean, whichever, this could be personal strategy also. And sometimes people think that when I'm alone, I get get good insight into the topic that I'm working on, and I do well. That's perfectly fine. But my personal opinion, if you have a smaller group and you have all of you in that group are from the same mindset, uh, then that will work really well.
Thank you, sir, for your answer.
Angad sir, because you have a background in academic research, could you please tell us what universities truly expect from an IT software intern?
That is an interesting question. So even like I said, I mean, we are in a world where no only IT software or a core course will suffice. You have to look into a bigger picture. We actually hire students for internship from various institutes. We suppose we hired last year we hired someone from University of Pune who has a computer science background and wanted an internship here. So first thing I need to ask the student is why? Why as a computer science you think you are fit for a chemical engineering problem? Because see, at the end, when I take a student or I take a candidate for an internship, I had certain things in mind. I have to solve few problems which are in some collaboration with other universities. And those are typically chemical engineering oriented problem or environment related problems. And so the first thing I should ask a candidate is, how do you think you are fit in doing such problems? So therefore, I'm saying you should have a bigger perspective, bigger picture to understand. Yeah, so understanding the basics of your computer science subjects is fine. But see, suppose you, again, coming back to your previous question of DSA, you understand DSA, but will you be able to apply that to solve a problem in applied field? So would you be able to use those concepts to bring up some sustainability in the environment or society, which is really a focus today in India? Like you have to be very active on societal matters and environmental matters. So whatever, so even someone from electrical, if he comes to me, I will ask how is your knowledge will help me or the department as a whole to grow or solve problems in that domain. So if you are applying to some universities or some CSIR lab, some research labs abroad, you should understand what they work upon. Okay, how is your niche area is collaborate or give a value to their product. Okay, how, and at the end, could you continue that collaboration? That is I think from my perspective, that is very important. You should, once suppose you have done internship somewhere, maybe industry, corporate, university, research lab, you should try to keep that collaboration on. That helps you to progress. You get new ideas, you get to know new peers of new thinking areas. So your mind should be open, should always be there to learn things. You should always learn so till today I'm learning from my students, even from my intern candidates. So you should be open for learning. Okay, yeah, that's all.
Thank you, sir. It's really helpful to know the expectation from the other side.
Now, Praveen sir, this question is for you. Are HR rounds of IT software similar to the HR rounds of other fields?
I think, yeah, it should be similar. I mean, so again, going back to the same thought process is get into the other person's shoe and try and understand what is it that they are assessing you on, right? So if an HR is taking an interview, they just want to assess your attitude, aptitude, attitude sometimes. So in terms of they give you some behavioral question. They put you in a situation and try and solve the problem in that hypothetical situation. So with your judgment, answer the question in a way that at that moment, if Praveen is in a boat, full of 50 people and some crazy situation happens, what is the right thing at that moment to do? Right? Just think about that right thing and just say it. Right? Don't answer something crazy and you will be good. So HR rounds are pretty much the same, but few companies take it to a certain level where they expect a lot of behavioral and hypothetical questions, and they try to assess on those parameters. So there are, when you Google search, there are multiple resources available. Specifically, if you talk about Google, they have Googliness and leadership round. GNL is what they say. And if you search on YouTube, there'll be a video available for that, and I can pass it on to you. So just look at that. So to answer your question in one sentence, yes, HR rounds are pretty much the same, but it might be a little more, intense, or taking it to the next level for some companies like Google. So be prepared accordingly, and they will give you resources how to prepare for it most of the time.
Thank you, sir. Mayank, I think we are done with our questions. Since the students are present here, we can open the floor for the questions to have more meaningful and in-depth conversation with our alums. So now you can raise the hands and we will unmute you one by one. You can raise the hands.
Good morning, sir. I'm audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so I'm with Mathukya and second year student. My question is like how to prepare for pressurized interviews.
I didn't get that question. Can you repeat once again, please?
Sorry, I'm repeating like how to prepare for pressurized interviews.
Which interviews?
Pressurized. How to prepare for
Pressurized
interviews.
interview. So his question is how to prepare for pressurized interviews.
Angad sir, you want to take that question?
Okay, so you should not think interview to be the last thing in the world that you are facing, right? If you do not crack an interview, it doesn't, I mean, you have not lost anything from. So, and take it in a positive sense, you learn something from it, right? There might be, say, for the first interview you face, you may not answer most of the questions. So you go back and find those answers, and it prepares you for your next interview. And that is how you upgrade yourself. So first of all, put this out of your head that it is something, some battle you are going to, and you have to win for every time you do it. So be calm, be to yourself, be honest when you answer any question, and you are always free to say, no, I don't know the answer to this question. It's fine enough. Instead, you cook up an answer and then you fall into a trap, right? And that is what I, as a faculty, normally face. You give some answer which you don't know, and it causes a rippling effect. It causes another question, and that leads to some other questions, and you are completely in a soup. So it's fine if you don't know a question, say I don't know, and okay, and the interviewer will go back, will try something else. Okay, so be true to yourself and be confident what you have done, and understand that there are a lot of other interviews to come. Okay.
Very well said. Yeah, I completely agree that this is not the end of the world, right? So I'll tell you personally. So I was invited for Google screening rounds in 2019, 2020, and 2021. So 2021 was the third attempt when I cleared the screening itself, the very first interview that they take, right? So it's not like something I lost. It's perfectly fine if I was not well prepared at that time. I was not able to do. So then I went back and I did like more than 100 lead code questions, and then I was like more confident, and then I cleared it. So if you work hard, you will be more confident. And first interviews, just like your lab vivas or any other viva, uh, if you had really worked and invested time on that project, do you really stumble, or do you really struggle to answer? No, right? I mean, you just answer what the other person is asking, whether it's the professor, visiting professor, or anyone else. So just take this interview as the extended form or the next, sophisticated form of that viva, and just go for it with full confidence, and whatever tools and knowledge you have, success is yours.
And just to add on, I mean, you should not think the interviewer is there to judge what you don't know. We know that you will not know everything. We are sitting there to understand what you know and judge based on that. There are a lot of things that you don't know, we don't know. It's fine enough.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. It was really insightful for us.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, hello, sir. Astha here. Good morning. So, sir, my question is like, what if we haven't done any significant software projects or anything like that? Should I try for the software internship, or what prerequisite, like what prerequisite do I have for that?
Okay, I can maybe start. Good morning, Asta. So in second year, right? So expectation, my personal expectation from you guys is like, given the course content and the amount of pressure you guys have in your classroom, outside the classroom, for various cultural activities and all that. So I'm not expecting you to do a groundbreaking research when you're appearing for your internship. Just one or two projects that you did as part of your course, and the courses that you did, which you think is relevant to that internship position, that you mention in your resume, and that is good to go. And also, from that internship, the other company is not expecting you to come and write a code that that will result into some a groundbreaking software which will change this world. No, no such expectations, right? So a single answer, a single line answer. If you have done smaller projects, bigger projects, doesn't matter. But you should know thoroughly about whatever project that you have done. And in terms of software internship versus the other internship, that should totally lie on your interest, right? What you are interested in. Even and if you are unsure, just go for it. And I can assure you that you will learn something new, something different from your internship experience, about the job role, about the corporate, as well as living away from your, if it is an outside internship, living away from your family. You're already doing that. Living away from your college, the comfort of that bubble that IIT Bombay creates for every one of us. Just come out of it and live on your own somewhere. That experience itself is valuable. So it is not just about exactly some textbook kind of an internship that you have to do. No, not at all.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hello. Sir, my question is, how much should we know about latest technologies like cloud or machine learning?
Mr. Praveen, you can take that question.
Sure. Certainly. It is good to know about latest technologies, but it is not expected out of you that you would be very thorough with them, right? So whatever has been taught in your classroom, probably as part of your course about the cloud, about the machine learning, right? So so if you take machine learning, how the algorithm learns, how the data is taken into the algorithm, and from that data set, that machine is tuning itself and all that. So if you at least know at the surface level what the whole principle of machine learning and AI is, uh, that is good enough. But still, I feel that it is not expected out of you that you would be knowing that domain in and out. And if it is, then it would be as part of that job role. Probably someone will tell you that we are expecting so and so. But at a fresh college grad level, uh, if you know the concepts, the early the high level of it, I think that should be good enough. It is always good to know. You need to know the concepts that are there to work on those technologies. It is not the technology that matters. It is the building block of that technology, how that came about in our lives, how someone invented it, what was the building block. At the end of it, it is all algorithmic, right? It is all some sort of a programming, right? If you break that the whole technology down into smaller chunks or pieces, even if the biggest problem that the software world would be trying to solve currently would be broken down into some sort of an algorithm, some sort of a programming, some sort of smaller tasks, which will come together and solve that problem. So fundamental is should be there, rather than you knowing the everything there.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, sir. Sir, my name is Sahil and I'm a sophomore. So, sir, my question is during an interview, let's say the interviewer asks why you are a better fit than others for the same. Like everyone did coding, everyone did the projects, etc. So, why should we hire you, not others? So, how should I tackle those questions?
Let me take that question. So you should, suppose the expertise that you have, and before you are appearing for the interview for a particular corporate company, whatever, you should know their background and try to figure out how your expertise matches with those of the company, and try to answer in those lines. Like suppose you have done, say, a computer science background. I don't know which background you are in. Suppose you are from computer science and you want to apply for an ONGC company. Now you should see what ONGC does first, and then try to map how your expertise of computation helps them. Maybe it helps them to figure out various fields where oil extraction is required. Okay, how your courses should help them in providing safety to those industries, or enhance their product quality, all those stuffs. So answering those lines. Rather than just saying, yes, I have done coding from such and such reputed universities. Those are known facts, right? Everyone can see your resume, but you should actually keep your answer aligned to the fact that it is a company which is completely different from your domain, but you have to fit in there. So in those lines, you should answer.
Thank you, sir, for your answer.
Thanks, sir.
Good morning, sir. My name is Gaurav. I have a question. What is the minimum level of coding skills that are expected from an intern?
What is it? Can you repeat? Minimum?
Yeah, what is the minimum level of coding skills that is expected out of an intern candidate?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it could probably vary. If small to medium complexity questions is something that I would expect someone to solve, and if you have the knowledge of a certain programming languages and the basics of data structure and algorithm, that is all that is required. It is so it's not like there is a problem that takes 2 hours to solve, and they will expect you to solve that in 45 minutes or so. So this is not the kind of expectations they should be having. Their expectation is that when you went through your data structure and algorithm course, if you haven't gone through, I'm not sure if you have gone through that, in that course, whether you read those fundamentals and those basic concepts of DSA and coding thoroughly or not. And if a certain interviewer is very particular about the syntaxes of that language that you are using, it could be C, C++, Java, Python, anything, then at least if you're writing Python as a language that you know, but just try and see that the syntax that you write in your coding is correct. It's not that you just write some syntax which will result in some sort of an error when the code is compiled. So these are the basic expectations out of a coding round. And I see that Sanket has, if it is a follow-up question, just ask right now.
Yeah, hello. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, I am a sophomore student and I want to ask, is web development anyway related to software?
Of course. Why web development is not related to software? So I'm not an expert, but I can tell you this. Web development is not just those beautiful looking icons and the photos and the way that that website looks. There's a lot of backend as well, as far as I understand, right? If a website is offering you groceries or some sort of Amazon, for an example, right? So there is a lot of backend thing which involves a lot of tedious algorithms, management of database, and so many things beyond that. So it is a full-time software engineering job that requires a lot of skills. And if you're just talking about a basic HTML web page you might have downloaded for yourself, which is like somewhere in some department server, yeah, that also requires your skills, right? You need to know some HTML or whatever the latest web development languages that are PHP or whatever that is there. So to answer your questions, yes, it is 100% relevant to the software engineering.
Okay, thank you, sir.
But you can always ask these questions to your interviewer at the end of the interview. When they ask, they give you an opportunity that, hey, if you have any questions, do you want to ask? You can go and ask what your team does, right? And if they say we do web development, ask them a probing questions, right? So is it just so from web development? I understand that a beautiful looking website popping up when I type the address in the address bar of a browser. What is beyond it? I mean, if you not already know, I'm just trying to probe those questions to them, and they should be answering those questions for your satisfaction, I believe.
Yeah, so sir, as we are running out of the time, I hope the questions till now must have covered all the dimensions of the internship preparation. But if you have more questions, you can connect to the alum, sir. You will share them.
I'm okay to go 5 minutes overboard. I see one hand raised, Anirudh Goel. So it's perfectly fine if all of you don't have any other commitment. I'm personally fine to go over 5 more minutes for the benefit of students.
Sure.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. I had a doubt, like how one should prepare for the questions which are asked in the aptitude level tests. So, like, could you please give some insights on that?
Okay, just like we discussed earlier, I don't know the answers of each and every question, and I do not know the answer of this question. But what I can tell you is just try and understand what kind of questions are asked in aptitude tests. I think those are like mostly the multiple choice questions which are there in aptitude. But sorry, I'm blank here and I can't really give you much advice other than searching online, and probably I can pass this question to Angan sir if he has some insight.
Okay, Anirudh, for MCQs, you can refer to any aptitude textbooks. There are lots of books online available, in market available. But the basic thing is, even to solve those, you should be very thorough in your basic and fundamentals of your discipline. I mean, you can start doing n number of such questions, but if your fundamentals are not clear, you will not clear those. I mean, those questions gives you a basic set, and those are not the only questions that can arise. Those are non-exhaustive sets, right? There can be multiple other questions. So for that, you should be thorough on your fundamentals.
Thank you, Praveen sir and Angas sir, for spending your valuable time with us and guiding our students for their preparation. I hope the session was helpful for the audience. Thank you so much. Praveen sir, would you like to add something?
Yeah, don't take these things too seriously and too stressful for yourself. I would say, just take your time and prepare well. Of course, prepare well with your peers, with your friends, and keep stress at the bay. Is something that I want to say. Taking stress today is not going to help you today, tomorrow, or even in the future. Uh, I was not well prepared for my internship in 2006. And whether I had not done that LG Wali internship or I had done an internship somewhere else, I don't think it would have affected my career in any other way. So I'm where I am. And tomorrow, if I do something else, that will be totally dependent on what I want to do. And again, coming down to that potential thing, I and everyone in your family, in your academic surroundings, and everywhere, there is not a single percentage of doubt that all of you have immense potential. And whatever that you guys want to do, you can do that and you can achieve it. It's just that you have to do it. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Angad sir, would you like to add something? And we are ending the session.
Yeah. So what Mr. Praveen said, you should not be very stressful in these things. These are a part of your life. Take it as a phase of your life that comes and goes. I mean, at the end, you should prepare yourself to come out of those beautiful bubble of IIT Bombay and face the world, as challenging as it is. Right. So take these things as a learning experience and prepare yourself accordingly. So at every every interview, you get to learn something and make it a habit and to take it as a learning experience and do in your future. That's it. Thanks and all the best for your futures.
Thank you so much, sir, both of you.